Welcome back to These Things Are Written on this Thursday. Once again, so glad that you're joining us as we are getting close to the end of Genesis, a week and 2 days, counting today. And today we're going to be looking at Genesis 44. Remember that Joseph has met his brothers. They came to buy grain. They went back. They came back again with their brother, Benjamin, who Joseph wanted to see, his brother, his full brother. And he had them at a feast. He was weeping when he saw Benjamin, overcome with joy of seeing his family again. And as we begin this, we're picking up the story where we left off at the feast, or at the end of the feast. Then he, Joseph, commanded the steward of the house, fill the men's sacks with food as much as they can carry, and put each man's money in the mouth of his sack. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, with his money for the grain. And he did as Joseph told him. Aha, the trap has been set. As soon as morning was light, the men were sent away with their donkeys, the men being his brothers. They had gone only a short distance from the city. Now Joseph said to his steward, "Up, follow after the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, 'Why have you repaid evil for good? Is it not from this that my Lord drinks, and by this that he practices divination? You have done evil in doing this.'" So why is he talking in this way? Why does he want that to happen? To test them and to arrest his own brother? Why? To see if the brothers have learned their lesson. Beginning with verse 6 again, continuing. When he overtook them, he spoke to them these words. They said to him, "Why does my Lord speak such words as these? Far be it from your servant to do such a thing. Behold, the money that we found in the mouths of our sacks, we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. How then could we steal silver or gold from your Lord's house? Whichever of your servants is found with it shall die, and we will also be my Lord's servants." The servant said, "Let it be as you say. He who is found with it shall be my servant, and the rest of you shall be innocent." Then each man quickly lowered his sack to the ground, and each man opened his sack. And he searched, beginning with the eldest and ending with the youngest, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. Then they tore their clothes, and every man loaded his donkey, and they returned to the city. When Judah and his brothers came to Joseph's house, he was still there. They fell before him to the ground, and they were begging him to let their brother Benjamin go. Joseph, in verse 17, said, "Only the man in whose hand the cup was found shall be my servant, but as for you, go in peace to your father." Then Judah went up to him and said, "O my Lord, please let your servant speak a word in my Lord's ears. And let not your anger burn against your servant, for you are like Pharaoh himself. Now therefore, as soon as I come to your servant, my father, and the boy is not with us, then as his life is bound up in the boy's life, as soon as he sees the boy is not with us, he will die. And your servants will bring down the gray hairs of your servant, our father, with sorrow to Sheol. For your servant became a pledge of safety to the boy, to my father, saying, 'If I do not bring him back to you, then I shall bear the blame before my father all my life. Now therefore, please let your servant remain instead of the boy as a servant to my Lord, and let the boy go back to his brothers, with his brothers. How can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? I fear to see the evil that would find my father.'" Isn't this an amazing turn of events? Judah, the one who wanted to kill Joseph, the one who ended up selling him into slavery, is now willing to put himself into slavery to keep Benjamin from having to stay, to keep his father from experiencing sorrow again, sorrow that Judah realizes that he has caused through what he did with Joseph. Judah recognizes his sins, his wrong, and wants to make it right. See, God can change hearts. God can change lives. People can change as they understand, as they grow and mature, as they are touched by the Spirit of God in their lives. They can change. They can repent. They can do the right thing. Judah did exactly that. The one who I would consider probably the worst of the 12 becomes one that would sacrifice himself for his father and for his brother. Again, pointing forward to that sacrifice that Christ, Judah's descendant, Jesus Christ, would make for you and for me on the cross. Isn't that amazing? How this Judah, this unclean, horrible man in many ways, foreshadows Christ and his taking on our uncleanness, our horribleness upon himself to give us life. Come back tomorrow. We'll see the rest of this story and how it turns out. God bless.